Welcome to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, president of Lincoln Lending Group and 813 Mortgage for 20 years right here in Tampa Bay. Joined by his incredible co-hosts, Rosa Vahidi and Senia Akishina, top producing real estate agents with Mahara and Associates. These three bring nearly 5 decades of experience in the local real estate market. If you're looking for real estate or business advice, no matter what your experience level, the Business Happy Hour team has been there for you for almost a decade right here on News Radio WFLA. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious real estate and business talk with 3 of Tampa Bay's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank.
Hey, Tampa Bay, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour, your number one show for all things business and entrepreneurial, as Rosa fixes her hair and the headphones as we start. Gotta love it. Back in studio with these 2 amazing girls. I know you missed them. I know it's been a long time. We had this beautiful gentleman named Ryan Gorman come in and fill in for these ladies.
Is he as pretty as us?
Well, no, definitely not. Ryan, I was trying to help you out there. Yeah, he sat right where you sat, Rosa, and he had his laptop out. It was all professional and asking questions and stuff, and it was a lot of fun though.
Aww. Yeah, he said it was a little odd for him to be in that seat because normally he's in your seat. So
exactly, he actually uses this studio, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm never over here. This is kind of weird, but hey, welcome back, ladies. I'm glad to have you. We've got a great show for everybody today. The ladies are actually going to be interviewing me today a little bit. I know. I get this whole list of questions this morning. I'm like, yeah, those are great questions for us to talk about. They're like, no, we're asking you those questions.
You get to be our guest today. We're the interviewers.
Well, I'll just shut up right now. But hey, thank you for listening to the show. It's going on 10 years here on the Business Happy Hour on 970 WFLA. You can check it out on iHeartRadio. We are a podcast, so if there's anything that we're saying here and you have to jump out of your car or anything like that, just remember, go to iHeartRadio.com, search the Business Happy Hour on the podcast section, and you can check out the rest of the show. My 2 favorite ladies here from Mahara and Associates, amazing real estate team. Mr. Ray Mahara doing it right over there. We have Senia Akishina and Rosa Vahidi. How is everyone doing?
We're amazing. We're excited. We are not dressed as cute as Frank is. He's in his beach attire, ready to go back to the beach. We're going back to work after this.
Yes.
maybe we'll just switch it up and just head to the beach with you.
There you go. Listen, you can work from anywhere in real estate. So
yes, you really can.
You know, I was on the phone actually with somebody yesterday morning on the balcony, and the wind was blowing, and then they go, "Are you on vacation?" I'm like, how do I answer that? I'm like, no, but I'm on a balcony. I'm like, what kind of balcony? Let's just leave it at balcony. So anyway, maybe, do you want to do any stats? Do we have any stats today, or are we just going right in?
We've got stats.
I love it.
Look, Senia's so prepared. She's got like 5 sheets in
but
front
it's
of her.
so much. I'm like, all right, let's.
Well, Ryan and I tried to do stats, and Senia, it is not the same without you. I promise. Like we did not. We were lost. We didn't know what to do.
I remember you did mention one of the numbers.
I did mention one of your stat numbers. I sure did. But I'm just going to shut up now because I'm getting interviewed and you're doing stats. So rock and roll.
Okay. So I fit well today. Let's go ahead and go over Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco numbers.
Okay.
And, so you mentioned, I think, the average sale price.
Okay, yes, I did.
So in real estate, we do like to go off of the median.
Okay.
Just because, you know, how math works. You kind of line them all up, and then, the things end up in the middle.
What's the difference? I know I'm a mathematician.
Well, in average,
I should know this.
You would add up all the numbers from all the statistics and then just divide it up to get your average.
Right.
So if you do have like a super expensive home that's sold that month, you know, it would just skew the numbers
10-4.
one way or the other. So with the median, we feel that's kind of like if you line them all up, go right to the middle, kind of gives you a clearer picture that way.
Okay. Great explanation.
Yeah.
I really wasn't sure. I was like, it's been a long time since I've been in math school.
I know.
So.
I actually was thinking about that earlier. So thank you for that explanation.
Yeah. How about circumference and radius? Let's
go
with that.
What about geometry and algebra and pre-algebra?
I know what a triangle is. Okay. A rhombus, I don't know. Okay. What's a stop sign?
Hexagon?
Ooh.
Octagon?
Well, which one is it?
Octagon.
James comes in and says octagon. Hold on, James. Do we have like one of those wah, 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 wah? Oh, dang it. We got it wrong again. How many sides does a rhombus have?
Oh, come on. I'm going to have to brush up on these because I'm going to have to teach
do you know that answer?
my little one. No.
Oh,
I'm saying I got to brush up on them because I got to teach my son shapes. And I'm like,
think she was gonna be
triangle,
like,
rectangle.
I thought she was going to be like, in Russia, we know what rhombuses are.
Yeah.
Like, four sides. It's 4 sides according to... Oh, we got it right again. Okay, I'll shut up now. Let's go and do stats.
Okay, so for Hillsborough County, you guys, we've got our median sale price is up by about 2.4%.
I love it.
So the average is 4.7, but let's just keep on the median. So 2.4% in Hillsborough. For Pinellas County, it's actually up 7.8%.
My God.
Yeah. And then Pasco County, 3.6%.
So why is nobody buying 1395 Davis Road? Am I in the wrong county?
Can we move the house?
Can I move the house? We'll just move the house where the median sale price is going up. Sorry, I had to put that shameless plug. All right, what else? This is
well,
great
I mean,
news.
not a huge change. So then, I'm looking at it from April to May change. Just a little jump in Hillsborough from 2.2 to 2.4%.
Okay.
That I just mentioned. And then in Pinellas, actually, it went up a bit. So it was, no, it didn't. Stayed exactly the same, actually, 7.8%. This is what I do when I have too much. I'm like, all right, where do I look here?
But when you say it stayed the same, does that mean that we are still increasing by 7.8 or it's just the same average?
So these are year over year. So year over year, yes. But I do think when you break it down a bit, and then maybe we can go over that like next week. So when you really look at the numbers, closer to the time frames, we are thinking that maybe it's going down a little bit. Nothing drastic, but, just kind of slowly ticking down.
So, but when everybody asks you, they're like, "Well, I feel like prices are falling." The truth is, they're not.
I don't know where they get that from. We hear that too, and it's like, well, not on the numbers that we're looking at. So I'm not sure where those stats are from.
I don't think there's stats necessarily. I think it's that consumers are watching Realtor.com and Zillow.com, and they get those notifications, price drop. In their minds, they think, "Oh, I see price drops. That means it's happening everywhere."
So, okay, but I will say this. I'm typing about the Hometown Heroes program right now. I did a podcast with somebody last week, the Carlos Rojas We the People podcast. You might have seen it.
Yeah.
But anyway, they literally were trying. There was a guy who wrote an article, and it went national, talking about the real estate prices in 3 major Florida cities have declined, and people are dropping their listing prices. And he literally said Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, and like Broward or something like that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, because my girls from Mahar and Associates come on here every week and they give me these stats, and we hear these stats year over year. So I corrected it. I literally called the guy a liar on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if you heard that, but I'm like, this is not true. I'm like, and you just proved it again.
And to add to that
Please.
also, so Realtor.com did come out with, and maybe this is part of that, they had maybe 15 or 20 cities that the prices are declining, and I believe Tampa was one of them. And a local realtor here challenged that and pulled our stats from our MLS, and actually that is not true.
Really?
Our numbers are up from this time last year.
Did he get the challenge? Was it like a back and forth thing, or?
No, because she just challenged Realtor.com.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
proved them wrong, actually.
See, I love hearing that. That is great. And because we have to challenge the news now. Like in the podcast that I do with Carlos weekly, we always Google the interest rates. I'll do it right now, actually, while we're talking real quick. We Google the interest rates just to see what is Google saying, because we have to challenge the narrative. Like, we are in the mix every single day. We wake up and we do real estate, unless we're on the beach. But I'm still doing real estate.
Yeah, then.
You're like, well, but let's see what Google says today. I'm going to Google it real quick. I'm waiting for this page to reload. And it's really, really sad, because the general consumer is looking for accurate information. So I'm literally going to google.com. I'm not just going to the top URL. Let's type in 30-year mortgage rates. It comes right up, actually. It's the first thing that comes up. What does Google say? Google says today the 30-year fix is 7.532 for a conventional loan, 7.052 for a VA.
Nope.
What do you think it is?
Around 6.25 or so.
I love it. And this is a realtor saying this. You're not even in the mortgage business. You're 100% correct. They're at least a point lower than this. And the VA rates, you can actually get in the high fives right now. So
wow, there you go.
Don't you think that more buyers would be in the market if they knew what the rates were?
The real factual information.
Right.
Let's get the word out.
Right,
yeah.
Cynthia, that's my point. Like, you giving these great stats every week, And if someone is being told by the news or the realtor, my God, realtor.com.
Realtor.com, which is supposed to be a very trusted source for many of us, but really coming to us and we can pull factual information and data for you and show you.
Right, right. So the point is, guys, we are not the fake news. We are the real news here on the Business Happy Hour, and we try our best to get the word out, but we are just 3 individuals here in the Tampa Bay area, and we need your help. So when you hear this information, share it with your friends. What else you got, Senia?
Well, let's see here. So the one thing that I will say, though, and this is just from last month, well, April, because these stats are for May.
Okay.
There is a drop in closed sales.
Okay, that's going from April to May?
So that's going from April to May. So in April, it was 7% in Hillsborough. We're down to 4.7%.
Okay.
And then it seems to be the trend here in Pinellas from 9.1% to 2.7%.
Oh, wow. That's now that's you're saying, like, percent of listings that are closing or something? Is that okay? So, all right.
Transaction wise. And I mean, it's activity. I mean, overall, we all talk to agents, colleagues, and all right, how are things going? It's a different kind of market right now.
It is.
Things are selling. There is activity, but it's not like super, gung-ho. There are some buyers still, listening to the news and like, oh, okay, let me sit on the sidelines. There are buyers that are actively looking, but that just, are a little bit more nervous to pull the trigger.
Well, because they're hearing the stupid stuff like we're just talked about out there. If they're hearing that prices are going down and they're hearing that they should wait to buy because these prices are going down, then that's what they're doing. By the way, Berlander, we need you to edit when Senia said something negative about the market.
I knew it. See, I'm like, all right, what do I say?
She's like, he's going to edit me. No, we don't do that here on the Business Happy Hour. We're the real news over here. But yeah, okay, so that's the truth, though. They just have to know the truth. And that's why we're here.
And I do have another stat for you, too.
Oh, yes.
So for Mahara and Associates, though, we're right at about $220 million.
What?
For this year for pending and closed sales.
You guys are doing about $100 million a quarter, if I'm doing this right.
So we're at 220. So not quite.
Close.
Not
right?
quite,
My
but
golly. So I mean, that's a positive. Where were you last year? Do you have that stat? Do you know where? Hold on. We got to take a break.
Sure.
As soon as we get back, we're going to find out where Mahar and Associates was last year, and then these girls are going into interview mode, and I'm going to shut up and answer questions right here on the Business Happy Hour. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute.
Now we're back with some serious real estate and business talk with 3 of Tampa Bay's top experts. Your host of the Business Happy Hour, Frank the Bank Cotto, Rosa Fahidi, and Senia Akishna.
Hey, Tampa Bay, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour, your number one show for all things business and entrepreneurial. And today, we're your number one show for all things truthful about interest rate and statistics on home sales. We had to cut Senia off there and take a quick break. But right before that, she was telling us that the Mahar and Associates were at $220 million of real estate sold. So, guys, people are buying houses. Clearly, if one great real estate group in Tampa has done a quarter billion. Let me just do it like McDonald's does.
Oh, I like
quarter
that.
billion served, right? If you guys have served up a quarter billion people here just in this first half of the year, then clearly there's some business going on. So what stat were you about to throw out there when you got?
Well, you were asking me about last year, and I don't have the exact number, but it was over 400 million. So, I mean, we're definitely on pace to hopefully beat that number this year.
Yeah, I actually think you are on pace to beat that number. And
so far, it's looking like it, yes.
Yeah,
so.
I think we've got that happening. So there was a question, Rosa, I think that came in from social media.
Yes. So Alex asked us about the interest rate projections.
Oh, get that crystal ball, Frank.
She figured you had one, so that's what she asked.
I think there's a hold on. I think there's a sound effect for crystal ball. Hold on. Ooh,
there we go.
That was magical. So here's my crystal ball. And actually, we're going to do this in like a 20-second story instead. I will tell you this: rates are going down, right? Do we know when? I mean, my crystal ball told me they should have started going down 2 months ago, like 3 months ago, right? Because in a normal election cycle, that's what happens about 6 months before the election. The gas prices start going down, rates start going down. By the way, did you notice gas prices have gone down a little bit?
Little bit.
Just a little bit, like enough for us to notice, but not, but not for it actually to help us, right? I still can't afford to drive to get the eggs.
Well, you have a Tesla, so.
Oh, you called me out of that. You're right. What's gas? You guys are burning these dinosaurs? Like, what are you doing? Anyway, you know, the electricity still comes from the same dinosaur, right? Which is hilarious. People are like, oh, I'm going to drive an electric car. Yeah, you're not saving anything. Anyway, except for money. So here's the thing. Rates are going down. Will they get cut before the election? Most smart people think they will. Okay, what that means is the Fed will probably cut the rates, which is more the credit card rates and the short-term interest rates. But what happens is all of a sudden the news talks about it, just like they talked about how Joe Biden was a dumpster fire last week. Sorry, I had to say it. Everybody's going to talk about the Fed lowering rates. And when they do, that's when people are going to be like, oh, God, rates are going down. And what do you think they're going to do when it comes to buying houses?
They're going to get out there and buy.
They're going to be buying. A lot of buying happening.
Right. So what do you think is going to happen to home prices when a lot of people start buying?
There's not going to be as many negotiation opportunities. Prices are going to go up.
Right. So to answer your friend in a story manner, the answer to the social media question is that rates will go down eventually. And when they do, home prices will go up because there will be less supply and more demand. So the real answer to that person asking the question is, you should not care about the rate right now. I hate to say that, but you should care about the price of your home. You need to buy now when the sellers are working with Rosa and Senia to give you the better deal and to give you the closing cost and the credits, because you cannot refinance overpaying for a house. You can refinance a rate. Mm-hmm. So it's a very long way to say is, yeah, they're going to come down, but you don't want to wait till they come down. You want to buy right now.
Mm-hmm. So, no, and it's so true. They are negotiating.
We've been
Rosa
negotiating.
and I are working one out today. Yeah. And I mean, we're pleasantly surprised at where we're at. You know, we think we're getting our buyer a great deal. You know, and it's because activity has been just a little bit slower than we're used to, you know, during our, you know, main hot selling season here. So this is the time.
I think you are getting better deals right now.
We
I
are.
1,000%
For sure.
agree.
We definitely are.
Right. And I'm a seller right now, too. And I'm literally trying to like open up the floodgates and give this house away. Right. When the rates go down, I'm not giving it away. I'm raising the freaking price.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So anyway, what website do they go to? I bet you that there's a website that they can go to find you ladies and they can find out about these prices.
It's therealdealtampa.com.
Yeah, the real deal.
We could have done it together, Rosa. It's okay.
You guys were this close to doing it together.
We should figure it out to doing it in
Let's try it again. Okay. What's the website that they go to on 3?
Therealdealtampa.com.
I love it. All right. And by the way, if you need a mortgage, you just go to contactfrankthebank.com and I'll give you a call. But you can start looking first. If you go to therealdealtampa.com, get all excited, and then you go to Contact Frank the Bank, or they'll just introduce you to me. So either way, it's a great website.
Yeah, we can start at Davis Road.
No,
I almost showed
there.
it the other
You
day.
did?
I was so close to showing it, but it was a little bit above what they want to spend. So.
I don't care.
Well, then I will let them know
Bring
because
them
they're
an
cash
offer.
too.
Listen,
They're cash buyers.
I'm dead serious. Are they even close?
They're around what I wanted to really spend, around that $350, $360, I think. But I think it's still worth it. I will try.
Show it to them.
Yeah.
If we can get them inched up a little bit and they're cash buyers, I might just say, what's the old saying? Just cut your losses and move on.
Yep.
Well,
that's what I'm doing on some other things too. So it's the season for it.
It's great advice.
Yep, let's do it right
It's
now.
the season for
Rosa, can we give your big news?
Whoa.
Yes,
She was a potential buyer for you, but Rosa actually closed on her, this is the 4th home?
Fourth home, yes.
Fourth home this week. So yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
What'd you do?
I got a great deal, guys. So I was actively shopping, and I was kind of in a bind. I needed to move quickly. So I looked at creative financing, and I ended up locking in a 4% interest rate. I got a house for $360,000. So I got $20,000 off the list price.
Nice.
First off, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, block home in Clearwater, Florida, and I'm literally 10 minutes from downtown Dunedin, downtown Safety Harbor. I love
Closer
it.
to the studio. I'm
Yes.
like,
That's $7. Hey, round of applause. One day we're going to learn about how she bought those other 3 homes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, did we ever do that story? Yeah, I haven't heard it. I mean,
if you guys want to hear it, we can do it real quick. It's up to you.
Whatever you want to save it for the next show, because let's bring it from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's say everything. We can do a whole half of a show on it.
Oh, yes, that's perfect. Okay, sounds
How
good.
to buy a house with Rosa.
How to buy a house.
I love it. Did you close? Like, are you done? Are you ready?
100% done.
That's
I closed
awesome.
on last Tuesday.
Heck yeah,
and I have a correction for you. So how to buy a house like Rosa. Because I think, you're great. Like if you're young out there, maybe never owned a home, you're like, okay, how do I go about doing this?
Yeah.
You can do it.
You sure
There
can.
are creative ways to go about the process. And I think Rosa would be a great person to guide somebody like that.
She is.
And
Rosa, can I ask how old you are?
I am 29, guys.
And you've bought now 4 houses.
4 houses.
I think
That's
that was
impressive.
exactly what I thought when you said that.
I have to say, guys, too, like one of my purposes in my business is to educate people on how to invest in real estate and become homeowners, because my mom never owned a home and she still doesn't own one yet to this day.
What?
I want to give back to her. I will buy her a house one day, but I definitely want to help educate people on that too.
I love it. I love when people say that. You see that across the board. Athletes or successful people, and they're like, my goal is to buy my parents a home, and they do it, and it's a really special thing. So we're gonna video that when that happens.
Yes, that'll be nice.
That'll be a really nice video.
Yeah.
So we are going to take a break here on the Business Happy Hour, and when we get back, we promise that I'm going to shut up and I'm going to get asked questions instead of just talk. So we will be back here in just a minute. Don't forget Mahara and Associates, therealdealtampa.com, contactfrankthebank.com, and reverseguru.com. Those are our favorite websites. Check them out. We'll be back in just a minute on the Business Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, president of Lincoln Lending Group and 813 Mortgage for 20 years right here in Tampa Bay. Joined by his incredible co-hosts, Rosa Vahidi and Senia Akishina, top producing real estate agents with Mahara and Associates. These 3 bring nearly 5 decades of experience in the local real estate market. If you're looking for real estate or business advice, no matter what your experience level, the Business Happy Hour team has been there for you for almost a decade right here on News Radio WFLA. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious real estate and business talk with 3 of Tampa Bay's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank.
Frank the Bank is here in studio, and Frank the Bank is about to shut up and let his awesome co-host, Senia Akisha. Oh, people are hearting that part when I said I was going to shut up.
It's blowing up.
Gotta love social media. As soon as I said I'm shutting up, I just see hearts going across the screen. So maybe I should actually do that and let my awesome co-host just take over the show. They've got a bunch of questions.
Lead.
Rock and roll. Here I go.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So yeah, we've got a few questions lined up for you. And the first one we wanted to ask, because it just rolled out, is the Hometown Heroes program.
Oh, yes.
So I think we've mentioned it here and there. It's finally here, right? The doors are open for the funds.
The doors are open.
Okay.
On July 1st.
And
actually.
the funds do go fast. So listen to what we want to know. What does it take? What do you need to qualify for this? Let's start with FHA.
Let's okay, like related to Hometown Heroes.
Yeah,
or?
the requirements that you're going to need.
Great. So here's what you got to do. You got to get approved for a loan. All right. It
Step
sounds
one.
so hard. Step one. Well, really, I mean, not being facetious, but use my company. I'd love it if you did. But contact frankthebank.com. You could go to the website or meet the ladies, but you need to get pre-approved for a mortgage. So simple. You need to work with a mortgage broker or a bank or a lender. Now, make sure if you're going to a bank that they offer the program, and you shouldn't use a bank anyway. You should use Frank the Bank. But you got to get approved for a loan. If you're approved for an FHA, VA, or conventional loan, you should be able to get the Hometown Heroes product, okay? The Hometown Heroes product is very cut and dry. It's up to $35,000. So they will give you 5% of the purchase price, up to $35,000, to be used for down payment, closing costs, both. So a lot of people say, well, what if the seller's already covering the closing cost, right? Then all of that money goes to your down payment. And another question is, what if I'm a veteran? What if I'm getting 100% financing? You can still use this free money towards your down payment. Just because you're a veteran and you're getting 100% doesn't mean you can't put a down payment down. Well, Frank, what does that do? It lowers your mortgage payment because you have a lower payment, right? So these ladies are going to go out and they're going to negotiate, just like they talked about it a minute ago, in this great market right now, and get you closing costs, get you the right price of the house, and then you can still use this money, $35,000. The beauty of it is they don't have restrictions. Like, it doesn't say you've got to have a 700 credit score or a 680 or something like that. If you're approved, you can use the money, right? So it matters what lender you use because, like, for example, we have no minimum score for veterans, right? So if Bank of America says you need a 620 and you don't have it, you're not getting the loan and you're not getting the $35,000 either. Does that make sense?
So they need to come to you.
That's what I would say.
So you have a little bit more flexibility than maybe a bigger bank might have with the minimum requirements.
Absolutely.
So you do have to be a first-time home buyer.
Yes, I should
That's
have probably
a big
said
deal.
that. Yes, that is slightly important. Yes.
Oh, look, your wifey joined.
Oh, my wife. Hi, honey. Welcome to the business
So we're
happy hour.
interviewing your husband today. And so we're talking about Hometown Heroes right now.
Yes. So yes, I'm glad you brought that up because that is probably the most important thing about Hometown Heroes is you have to be a first-time home buyer. What does that mean? It means you have not bought or owned a home in the last 3 years. Okay. If you have, you're not qualified, but it's okay because we actually have 100% FHA product. I know I'm not talking about it now, but if you can't get the Hometown Heroes because you are not a first-time home buyer, there is a 100% FHA product that we offer with a 600 credit score that will give you 100% financing. So then Rosa and Senia, you go find them the seller that will give them closing cost, and we are getting them in the property for, I want to be very ethical and reasonable, probably, you normally say what? They want 1% earnest money deposit?
Yes.
So if you're buying a $400,000 house, you're going to need $4,000, right? For your escrow deposit.
Which goes towards your cash to close at closing. So you get that money back.
You get it back. It goes towards the closing. Even, by the way, great question here. Even if the seller is covering all your closing costs, yes, you can get a refund of that $4,000. Okay. Plus, you're going to need $1,000 for appraisal and home inspection. So I think a good number when people say is, what do I really need? You still need about $5,000 because the seller still wants you to put a deposit down, even if you're getting it back.
To show good faith.
Good faith. Yeah.
Well, we accepted one with like $1,000 deposit recently.
Yeah.
It's a VA loan. We already know that they need, all their money. They're not putting anything down. So, it's not out of the question. The 1% is kind of the norm that we use when we write up contracts, but that also doesn't mean that it can't be negotiable.
100%. I agree with you. It's everything's negotiable. So so let's say you need at least $2,000. All right. If you're working with Senia, you need at least $2,000. If it's Rosa, you need $5,000.
I'm a little bit stricter on that one.
I'm just kidding. If you work with me, it's $0. Just go to contactfrankthebank.com. We got you covered. All right. That's enough for that.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, how much do you need to make with today's rates? And this is obviously an estimate, approximate, to afford a $650,000 home.
Ooh, boy, that's mathematical. How much do you need with today's rates to afford it? So what should we assume a specific down payment? What do we want to assume?
Yeah, so let's say so conventional minimum is that 5%. Is that correct?
Yep, you got it.
Okay.
650. I got it. Okay, 650 minus 5% puts you, that's $32,500. Let's say the seller covers the closing costs. So now you got to be out of pocket $32,500, right? That would include your deposit and everything. Let's see, that gives you a loan amount of $617,500. We're going to use the mortgage calculator right here. $617,500. We're going to do a 30-year loan. We're going to give them an interest rate. Let's go right in the middle of reality. Let's go at 6.75. So we're not being, we're not pushing it too far.
And this varies. How is that? That's based on their credit score?
Yes. The two major factors that will influence your interest rate are going to be your credit score and your down payment.
Okay.
Right? Your product type, like FHA and VA, always will have lower rates than conventional, okay, by probably about a half a point. You look at Google, even though they're liars. You look at that, you can see they are showing about half a point difference, right? So your payment is going to be $4,005.
And that's on a $650,000 home with 5% down.
With a caveat. That's your principal and interest. Okay. So now you got to throw your taxes and insurance on top of there. Let's say tax, and by the way, you only put 5% down. So you're going to have to pay what? Mortgage insurance. Thank you. PMI. Right? So let's just throw $1,000 on top of that, just for easy, quick radio math. Let's say you got taxes of $4,800, insurance of $3,000. You got a little PMI of a couple $100 a month. Let's just say the payment now is going to be $5,000. So then your question is, how do you know what you qualify for? How much money do you have to make? A great rule of thumb is to say if you have no debts, then your payment needs to be 45% or less of your income, right? I'm actually going to use like math here that I was taught. I think I know how to do this. $5,000 divided by...
Don't let them fool you.
I know. Let's see. Okay, actually, it worked. So I learned this. I think this is like the Pythagorean theorem. I don't know. But you take your amount of income, your payment of $5,000 a month, and you divide it by the debt ratio, 45%. This is complicated. It comes out to 11. Lucky 11. Look at this. It comes out, you need to make $11,111.11 per month to afford that $650 house. But that's good math. So you essentially got to be making about about $130 a year.
So two borrowers, one main borrower and a co-borrower could make that combined and afford a $650,000 home.
Absolutely. And that's actually higher than even kind of the median income for two people. Mm-hmm. So family of two with very little debt absolutely can afford a $650,000 house.
Wow.
I like it.
There it is.
Yes.
I've never done that in a long time. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Glad I had my calculator.
You're quick, yes.
How much time do we have for the rest of this segment?
You got another 3 minutes. You got time.
Okay. So this one's about, there's a loan product called a DSCR.
Oh, yeah.
Debt service coverage ratio. Is that what it's?
You nailed it. Debt service coverage ratio.
Okay. All right. So how much income and rent does the property have to generate if it were, let's say the sale price is $450,000, and let's say it's a multifamily home, so you're getting $800 on one side and $800 on the other side. Is that enough, or how much does it need to make?
So how much does a property need to make? Here's how instead of trying to use exact math on this, here's how that product really works. Your payment, principal and interest, tax and insurance must be covered by the rent by at least $1, right? So that's how that works. But the good news is, at Lincoln Lending Group, we have a special DSCR product. The normal one says that if your mortgage payment is $3,000 a month, the proposed rent, and how you figure that out is you go to rentometer.com and you see literally it's a
great tool for investors. Rentometer.com.
I should get send us some money. Rentometer.com is where you go.
No, this is our free added value, Frank.
Oh, that's
We're
right.
not charging them for anything.
Free value for you. Rentometer.com. Anyway, if it says that the rent, and then the appraiser puts a form called a 1007 together that says the rents are $3,000 or more, you're qualified. That means no income verification, no employment verification, because the rent is covering the payment. But if the rent doesn't cover the payment, there's a couple weird rules. Like there's one that you have a little higher rate, that it can be up to 20% under what the rent is.
Oh,
right? They raise your rates.
Yeah.
Or we have one that if you put 5% more down, which normally you need 20% down on this loan. If you put 25% down, we have what's called a no ratio DSCR. Now, why is that important? Because people buy rental properties that maybe need to be fixed up. Maybe the tenant in there was paying way cheap rent, and then they got to fix it up to get the top dollar.
I have the exact scenario going right now, and I'm like, because my clients they have their preferred lender. And I said, get with him and get creative, find out what he can do to make this work. And that's exactly it right
So you
there.
have your answer right there.
I have my answer.
So
Yep.
we're going to send the client that clip, and they're going to call me.
They do love listening and watching our show. So,
Oh, good. Well,
yeah.
then I'm speaking to you right now. No, it's in all seriousness. There are different levels of DSCR. That's why the lender makes a difference. It's exactly the same as like you got the VA loan, right? You think the VA loan is the same everywhere, but we have no maximum debt ratio for veterans and no minimum credit score. Why do all the other lenders have it? I don't know. But that's why
There's overlays. Because I asked this question early on in my career, and I said, why is it different everywhere you go? And it's because every company has overlays on top of whatever the standard guidelines are.
You are teaching in one of my seminars next. I love that. That's like a 20-minute section of the seminar she just did in 20 seconds.
Perfect.
Oh, I think we just blew the break here, and James wasn't yelling at me, but we're going to be back in the Business Happy Hour in just a minute. Stay tuned for our last segment.
It's because I was talking.
Now we're back with some serious real estate and business talk with three of Tampa Bay's top experts. Your host of the Business Happy Hour, Frank the Bank Cotto, Rosa Fahidi, and Senia Akishna.
Hey, Tampa Bay, welcome back to the Real Business Happy Hour, your number one show for all things business and entrepreneurial. I'm your host, Frank the Bank Cotto. You can go to contactfrankthebank.com, or if you want to go right into finding the real estate, you're going to go to
TheRealDealTampa.com.
I love it. How come she gets applause and I don't get applause? What the hell? Anyway, good morning, by the way. I hope you guys all had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. If you're waking up early on Sunday morning, we love you guys listening. You're going out fishing. It might be a beautiful day. I think it is. You're going out hunting. You're hunting illegally. But soon it will be legal. Don't worry, hunters. Your wives will be happy to get rid of you come October. All right, ladies, you're interviewing me today.
Yes,
right.
we're going to continue with the grilling here.
Yep.
So we asked you about the Hometown Heroes program.
Yes, ma'am.
Rosa also asked you about the DSCR loan product.
Yep.
And next, I would like to know for our, I guess, upper end home buyers, because some people do, have the income that they could buy, $1 million home or
$11,111.11.
What an interesting number we came up with there.
So what is the maximum loan amount on a conventional loan?
That's a great question. So there's a line in the sand called jumbo financing, right, Sania? The maximum conventional loan amount is $766,200.
Oh. Down to the $200?
Sorry. I'm sorry. Actually, they corrected. That was the old one. It's $766,550.
A 550. Why the 550 though?
Yeah.
Still,
I have no idea.
they need that extra $550.
If you can't remember that number, just call us and we will.
Well, they're probably
help
using
you.
the median, not the average.
So let's say, all right, so 776, but we've got somebody interested in a home that's maybe $800,000 or $900,000.
Which we just had that scenario for $900,000, and I ran them through you, and they got pre-approved, and that was a first for me. So I learned a lot, and so it wasn't making sense at first for my client, and then we got it finally. But
Nice.
that won't be the conventional loan then, right? So I mean, if they're up,
So people understand when you're saying the conventional loan limits, it doesn't mean it's different than the purchase price, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the maximum that a lender is going to give you under a standard Fannie Mae loan.
Okay.
So if you're only getting your 766, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the purchase price can be $1 million, but that means you're putting down $234,000, right? Same thing with FHA. Actually, did you know? Ray actually asked me this question yesterday. I gotta call one of his clients later. Don't let me forget that.
Okay.
Anyway, he asked me what's the limit on VA loans. There is none. Did you know that? A veteran could get a $2 million 100% loan from the VA. They got rid of the limits. That's crazy. But conventional, what happens when you go over 766? It becomes a jumbo loan. It's not scary, guys. We still do the same conforming underwriting on those loans. It's just the rates are generally going to be a little bit higher because you can get those loans up to, most lenders will go up to about $2.5 million. Most other ones stop about $3 million. Then you go into another category called super jumbo, which is very rare. Probably not.
We need to get one of those.
Yeah, we need to get one of those.
We are attracting that type of client.
Yes, please call.
Please come to us.
RealDealTampa.com. $3 million and up. There's a $6 million property right up for me on the beach, and I'm just like, my wife's like, let's look at that. I go, for fun. As long as we're on the same page, because we're not buying that. Anyway, no. So over that, it's not scary. You can still get it done. We can still get rates in the sixes. So just because you go jumbo, I would say up to about $2 million, life is about the same. Here's the big difference. You got to have 10% down. All right. Once you cross 766, you're going to need 10% down. So we talked that scenario earlier. We did 5% down, which means you basically can be in like the 800,000 range to put 5% down and stay conventional.
Okay.
Make good sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
All right.
All right. Now, the next questions have to do more so with Frank, your life, and how, you kind of got here today, and also giving you credit too. And like, you have a very successful business, and we don't actually know what goes on behind the scenes except for our clients that we refer to you. So I'm curious, how many loans have you closed this year? Do you know, year to date?
Me personally or Lincoln Lending Group?
Let's say Lincoln Lending Group.
I think, God, this is terrible that the owner doesn't know that exact number. We do reports quarterly, and it's been a minute. So I would say, are probably at, oh, Lord, you're killing me. Probably 400.
Okay.
Something like that.
And I saw that you posted that you just closed a really nice deal, it looked like, on the beach for a friend.
Yeah, we did.
How much was that sale price?
So Craig and them, their sale price, it's public record, by the way, was they paid $860 some odd thousand for a 2-bedroom on Reddington Beach.
Nice.
Beautiful beachfront unit,
Very nice. Cool. Okay. And then, so what do you think contributes to your consistent happiness? Because I just feel like you're always happy, and I want some of that. So tell us, what do you think it is?
I walked into the gym the other day, and I'm like, high-fiving people. I walk in, and this one lady is getting trained. She goes, "Why are you always so happy? Why are you?" And I walked right over to her. I go, "Let's go. Come on, we're having a good day." Honestly, both of my parents were very, very positive. I just remember my dad. It was so rare, unless he was beating my ass, he was smiling. He probably was smiling when he was doing that too. But between my mom and him, they are always so positive and always happy and smiling and joking. And I think I got it from them. I really do. I have a positive outlook on life to a fault. People call me Optimus Prime, because I am an optimist to the end. When somebody says there's an issue, the first thing I think is, okay, here's how I'm going to solve your issue. It just comes in my mind. It doesn't fade me. I think I compartmentalize very, very well. I don't know if you can honestly teach that, because I think that's been a lesson that I was taught since I was very, very small, but I really think it just comes from, and I guess I'm saying this to the parents out there, be positive. The more positive you are with your kids, and the more happy you are, and the more you smile, your kids are gonna grow up happy. Even if they don't show you, because my son,
I was wondering about
his faces.
He doesn't always smile in his pictures.
That's just a teenage thing. That's a phase.
It definitely is a phase, because he was the happiest baby in the world, right? Hardly ever cried, slept through the night, but he was always happy. And I'll ask his teachers, and they'll be like, is he always quiet? And this is what? Landon, quiet? What are you talking about? This kid's like freaking Johnny O over here. And I'm like, are you kidding? Anyway.
That's a teenage facade. He'll be just like you when he grows up.
And I hope so. I think my daughter totally will be. But that honestly, Rosa, I appreciate the question. I think it's just my parents. I got to give them credit, both my mom and my dad. And they were just happy, positive people. And I think life is too short to really worry about the small stuff. And to a fault. Because my wife's like, you don't care about anything. No, I'm ultra empathetic. If there's a sad story, dude, I'm crying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's how Marie says. He's always like, life is not that serious. When there's sometimes a stress or whatever, listen, it's not that serious. It's temporary. Yeah. We'll work it out. So I love that. And I love your parents for making you so
Yeah, thank you,
positive because
Frank's
we love you.
parents.
Yes, thank you. So an old Nordic phrase, I believe, this too shall pass. And I think that's a great thing to tell people is there's nothing that's going to go forever. You know, everything will eventually pass. So have a great week, everybody. We blew the Indian again. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
We'll see you next week.